You're listening to Ujima 98 FM, the heart of Bristol. Keep on moving.
And we're now going to hear a live song in the studio with Dave and Natalie. And it's called, what is it called, Natalie?
This is one of my particular favourites. It's God Bless the Child.
Them that's got shall get, them that's not shall lose. So the Bible says, and it still is news. Mama may have, Papa may have, but God bless the child that's got his own, that's got his own. Yes, the strong gets more, whilst the weak ones fade. Empty pockets don't ever make the grade. Mama may have, Papa may have, but God bless the child that's got his own, that's got his own. Monday, you got lots of friends crowding round the door. When you're gone and spending ends, they don't come no more. Rich relations give crusts of bread and such. You can help yourself, but don't take too much. Mama may have, Papa may have, but God bless the child that's got his own, that's got his own. Yes, God bless the child that's got his own, that's got his own. Thank you.
It's always wonderful to have live music in the studio. So thank you for bringing to us that little bit of absolute wonder and enjoyment.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you, Natalie. That's really good. Now, that God Bless the Child is a song that apparently Billie Holiday, who had gone into a restaurant and asked her mother for some money, and the mother had said, absolutely no, you can't have this money, and so she came out with this God Bless the Child, who's actually given you lots of money, but you don't give her anything back. So
yes, that's right, and it's really striking that it's a song about money, it's a song about not having any, it's a song about the indignity of having to borrow money, but it actually contains exactly the same sentiments as the earlier song that we did, Nobody Knows You When You're Down and Out, because in Nobody Knows You When You're Down and Out it says, you know, everybody wants to know you when you've got money, nobody wants to know you when you don't have any money. But basically, here's the line from Billy, the same sentiment. Money, you've got lots of friends crowding around the door. When you're gone and spending ends, they don't come no more. So there you go. Same sentiment expressed by, you know, a kind of jazzy blues singer, you know, at that time.
And it was always a very hard life for Billie Holiday and her mother, wasn't it? I mean, they had periods of their life when they were actually both prostitutes at the same whorehouse and had to really struggle in terms of making a living and having money.
Yeah, absolutely, and I understand that, and again, I just want to say, given the level of adversity, the extent to which Billie Holiday overcame and transcended her oppression and fought back and produced and created culture is amazing, because whilst all those things are true, you know, you could talk yourself into seeing Billie Holiday and all of them just as, you know, absolutely flattened, you know, by the oppression that they face. But to be honest, they were anything but, and that's why I've been
The
so
resilience is
determined
amazing,
in this presentation to foreground that resilience, that resistance, and that anger. And you know, Billie Holiday was just so greatly loved and admired by all of the absolute top musicians of the day. I mean, they almost worshipped the ground that she walked on, both black and white, and she toured with both, you know, with both black and white jazz orchestras and bands. I'll say a little bit about that in a minute, but they felt that she used her voice as if it was another jazz instrument in the orchestra. It would slide around, it would hold notes, it would improvise the melody. They respected her so much. Now, she toured with a white guy called a white band, you know, a very famous band, Artie Shaw, for a while, but the constant indignities of racism, you know, being made to use the back entrance to venues where the rest of the band would walk to the front, you know, being made to eat in other places. Now, they did their best to try and protect her from that and support her, but I mean, how could they? I mean, the plain fact of the matter was that it was a massively segregated society, so however you did it, I mean, you know, so what, a white guy has to go in and order the meal and the drinks and bring them back to the you know, to the van, to the coach, so they can eat together, you know, and that just basically it got so wearing for everybody that basically she stopped touring with Artie Shaw, and she was given her nickname Lady Day, which is how she was known in the jazz circles of her day. She was given that by Lester Young, a very, very, very famous jazz musician, with whom she had a lifelong friendship, and she called him Prez, and she was Lady Day.
And if we just come back to that racism that she actually faced, in Louisville, Kentucky, a man called her a nigger wench and requested that she sing another song. And I think this is part of that resistance that you're talking about. She actually took great offence to this and lost her temper and needed to be escorted off the stage. So those occurrences must have been happening quite frequently.
Absolutely, and she, you know, she didn't take it.
No.
It was as simple as that. You know, I mean, she got it plenty. Of course she did, but she didn't take it, and she wouldn't take it. And you know, I think that's what's so very important to remember about her, because you know, a lot of the story, you know, the problems with drugs and those kind of issues just get to obscure the story of a real greatness.
Fighter.
What about a Billie Holiday track of Billie herself?
Would be great.
Right. Well, it's called "The Lady Sings the Blues," and I've included this one because she wrote it herself, and you know, if you look at some of the lyrics of the songs that she didn't write herself, you know, you might be forgiven for concluding that this person was a passive victim. Like one of them does contain the line, "I'd rather my man jump up and hit me than jump up and quit me," you know. But actually, we have to bear in mind she didn't write that. You know, yeah. So when she writes a song, "The Lady Sings the Blues," she sings this. She says, "The lady sings the blues, she's got them bad. She feels so sad, and she wants the world to know just what her blues are all about. The lady sings the blues, she tells her side, nothing to hide. Now the world will know just what her blues is all about. The blues ain't nothing but a pain in your heart when you get a bad start, when you and your men have to part. I ain't going to sit around and cry. I know I won't die because I love him, so it's not, you know, I'd rather him hit me than quit me. It's quite the opposite, you know. And the lady sings the blues, I'm telling you, she's got 'em bad, but now the world will know she's never going to sing them no more. Blues ain't nothing but a pain in your heart when you get a bad start, when you and your man have to part." So here we go. If I can just arrange to press the right button here, I think I have. We should have it.
them bad. She feels so sad and wants the world to know just what her blues is all about. Lady sings the blues. She tells her sad, nothing to hide. Now the world will know just what the blues is all about. The blues ain't nothing but a pain in your heart when you get a bad start, when you and your man have to part. I ain't gonna just sit around and cry. I know I won't die, 'cause I love him. Lady sings the blues. I'm telling you, she's got 'em bad. But now the world will know she's never gonna sing them no more. 'Cause the blues ain't nothing but a pain in your heart when you get a bad start, when you and your man have to part. Ain't gonna just sit around and cry. I know I won't die, 'cause I love him. Lady sings the blues. I'm telling you, she's got 'em bad.
You recollect we were speaking about Billie Holiday, and we were looking at a blues number that she wrote herself called Lady Sings the Blues, but actually perhaps the most famous song that she is associated with, and she certainly had a hand in writing it, is Strange Fruit. And if it's okay with you, I'd like to talk a little bit about that.
Please do.
Strange Fruit was a poem initially written by Abel Meeropol, who was a Jewish high school teacher in New York. He published the poem in 1936 in the New York Teacher, which was a trade union magazine. So he was very located in the labour movement. He set Strange Fruit to music himself, and his wife, who was a vocalist, Laura Duncan, performed it first at Madison Square Garden. Meeropol and his wife later adopted the sons of Julius and Ethel Rosenberg, who were convicted, many would say framed up, with the charge of espionage and executed by the United States. Billie Holiday first performed the song at Cafe Society in 1939. Cafe Society was one of the first desegregated nightclubs in the city, and in the city of New York. Indeed, Cafe Society was completely desegregated, whereas some of the famous venues in Harlem, even that are famous for jazz, were not completely desegregated at that time. Now, she continued to sing the song, even though she was fearful of retaliation as a result of singing it. In her autobiography, she does say that she co-wrote the song. So I think that when when she picked up the song, I think, you know, she started to intervene within it and, you know, change the music around and things like that. And because of the nature of the song, which is a protest essentially against lynching, but with much wider anti-racist implications than that, she would always insist on closing with the number. She would always insist that the waiters would stop all service in advance, that the room would be in darkness except for a spotlight on her face, and there would be no encore. And when I did this presentation recently as part of the build-up to the demonstration against the EDL on behalf of Love Music Hate Racism and We Are Bristol, I asked the Thunderbolt, the venue which we were at, to actually respect precisely the rules that Billie Holiday had for the singing of the song, and they did do that. And I think, you know, that Natalie would agree that that was a pretty powerful thing that happened there.
Indeed it was, and everybody respected the wishes, and it went down well. I think it needed that serious.
So shall we have it?
I think we should have it. Just before we have it, I am just, you know, as an ex-teacher myself, very proud of the fact that Meerpole, who used, as you say, the pseudonym Lewis Allen for the poem, which was set to music, actually performed Strange Fruit at teachers' union meetings. So amazing. But let's have it, Dave. I think that would be very fitting.
Southern trees bear strange fruit, blood on the leaves and blood at the root, black bodies swinging in the southern breeze, strange fruit hanging from the poplar trees. Pastoral scene of the gallant South, the bulging eyes and the twisted mouth, scent of magnolia, sweet and fresh. Then the sudden smell of burning flesh. Here is a fruit for the crows to pluck, for the rain to gather, for the wind to suck, for the sun to rock, for the tree to drop. Here is a strange and bitter cry.
We've just heard Strange Fruit. That was a absolutely moving and amazing piece of music. Okay, and what did Frank Sinatra say about Holiday? He was very greatly influenced by her as a young man, and in Ebony in 1958 he said, with few exceptions, every major pop singer in the US during her generation has been touched in some way by her genius. It is Billie Holiday who was and still remains the greatest single musical influence on me. Lady Day is unquestionably the most important influence on American popular singing in the last 20 years?
Well, I couldn't put it better myself, except to say that he was speaking then. If you take Janis Joplin, if you take Amy Winehouse, if you take and let's talk about all of the women performers that we've spoken about today: Ma Rainey, Bessie Smith, Billie Holiday, all of them. You know, to be honest, they wrote the book about how women singers, you know, can actually do it, produce popular culture, and I don't think anybody singing anything today, you know, can do so really without acknowledging a debt to those absolutely amazing women pioneers: Ma Rainey, Billie Smith, Bessie Smith, Billie Holiday.